Bam. Why am I clicking? Oh wait, is WEC Weekly with like fixed? Oh wait, WEC Weekly isn't fixed, is it? Hello. And I don't really have a setup now, do I? Let's go default setup racing.com. The race starts very soon. I'll load up CA setup 7. So we're really bowling it with no practice. Nah, this is practice. But the race is gonna be started really soon, a few minutes. Hello. Yeah, good. Some good weather last few days, but today is raining. But going good. Right, the event already started, so let's just do one bus step and we're gonna jump in. Performance is good. I'm coming from ACC, so obviously performance can be quite good. If I'm using that as a benchmark. Okay, absolutely zero experience. Let's jump into the race. Are lap times slower in this single player session? Potentially. I have no idea, but it could be the case. So yeah, this is our event. Let's join. Absolutely no prep. What you just saw right now, that was all my practice. 8 tires, okay, not even 10, it's 8 tires, fair enough. And I don't even know what I signed up to. Is it a 90-minute race? Is it an hour race? Is it a 2-hour race? No, it's not a 2-hour race because event length was 116 minutes, but it's probably a 90-minute race, right? Am I taking softs for quali? Well, if I'm taking softs for quali, then I'm gonna have to use those softs at some point. 95 minutes, okay. 95, so I should be able to do like 2 full push runs. I should have also checked, damn it. I should have checked my energy consumption and fuel consumption in that practice, but I didn't. And then I would know what to go for in a race. But we're definitely taking mediums. We are definitely taking mediums. No, fucking hell, it's open setups. I could theoretically load this setup that's for Bahrain, but then that's like wing 9, and that's just gonna be slow. Let's just load up this in-game CDA set and just play with everything else. Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna pick mediums for practice. We run in. What the fuck? That was so sad. Also, that door here just like doesn't. What? I swear there was a door later. Or maybe this door is closed, but my garage isn't. But obviously I can't see it. Never mind. Well, I should. Oh yeah, I should have access to the HIMO stuff, but you see, the thing with HIMO. Well, yeah, I should just load HIMO, right? The thing with HIMO is that the way I could easily take it, but I would have to use time to find it, and I don't have that time right now because we're just right now in the session already. What's the weather? 23. So yeah, if it's 23, softs are not gonna work whatsoever. In fact, hards could work. Let's see how the mediums are gonna. So definitely mediums for quali. Because just internally how we run stuff at HIMO for different games, like I know how our, so to say, database works for ACC, so I can access easily any setup for any car. But with LMU, I never looked into it, so it's just my own goofiness of never figuring this shit out. That's what I mean. I don't think tires used in practice count, because in tires I now have no tires used, so I'm gonna go to mediums. And some people are also saying to like wait in qualifying. I don't know about that. Should I take just stuff for 3 laps? Someone's complaining about the tire bag with used tire sets. Okay, but I think radiator cover, we can try that for quali for sure. %36% for 4 laps, you say? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, let's just go out on the track. With obviously this limited practice, or none of it to be fair. Yeah, but no, I think that's way too much, because that's probably with twice, with fuel usage being twice, right? Or is fuel? Oh wait, isn't fuel usage? No wait, it isn't. Or maybe you are right. 9.4%. Nah, there's no way. Wait, this is... Oh yeah, okay. Never mind. We'll figure it out. Wait, what the fuck? So if this is twice usage, then the race is gonna be crazy. Trying to just not over push those tires, making mistakes by that way. Because obviously I'm gonna have to use those tires later in the race. Somehow on professional pole. You know what? I'll stop driving because I don't want to use the tires. The tires we'll use in the race. Fuel. 835,931. So that's somewhat what you're actually saying. 8294. Could be that I need ever so slightly more fuel ratio. And this says that I can do 11 laps basically. So how long is the race? 95 minutes. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Fuck, I need my phone to calculate shit. Okay, I'm just gonna use a calculator. The race is hour 35 minutes. Yeah. Okay. 3 stops. Can we do it only at 2 stops? That's my question. So lap is a basically 2-minute lap. So the stint is 22 minutes. 22 is only okay. So we have to fuel save even with the free stop. I have to fuel save, right? What the fuck did I just calculate? 12 times 24 times 496. So I have to make 12 laps a stint. So 12 laps a stint plus additional time in a lap because of fuel saving plus pit stop time is gonna give me 96 minutes. And then maybe the last stint could be a push stint, but I have to extend it to 12 laps. And yeah, we are somehow starting P2 this. And I completely messed up the last chicane. Like, this is close. This is very close between everyone. And also P3 is going IC with already hards on the front. So I need to turn off that. Plus, you say 12 plus 11 plus 11 plus 11. Are you sure that that works? It could be 12 plus 12 plus 11 plus 11. What were the lap times there though, and how close it was to be 45 or to be 46? That's my question. Yeah, you're right. Because the pit stops themselves, there are 3 pit stops, and each pit stop is gonna be a minute and a half, right? Okay, you're right with that. So yeah, because and the pit stops together will take like 5 minutes, so it's like very close. It's actually very close to be. But on top of that, the lap times as well as are not gonna be 2 minutes. It's gonna be like 2 minute 1 something, and with tire wear even higher. So So it's like on top of that, like a minute with that. So yeah, I see. True. Okay, so the strat is 12, 11, 11, and then if it's needed, the last one is gonna be 12, right? So yeah, let's start on the new tires and we'll set later for old mediums. We could always, I didn't really check tire where, but are hards like a viable option? People are mainly switching to mediums. Before I forget, I'll change that. I have no idea what I'm doing setup wise. Like, this is the in-game CDA setup. I should have loaded Hymo, that's my bad, but I just don't know. I kinda want to lower that. I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't work like I want it to work. Yeah, but either way, we need full tank in pit stops. Either way, right? So it doesn't really matter in that regard, because the pit stops are gonna be 100 virtual energy, and sometimes it's gonna be a tire change in the second pit.
Formation lab has started.
Considering this is no practice, I'm surprised that other people that theoretically should have practiced and potentially should have a setup aren't higher up. It doesn't matter. Virtuoso tires up ahead, a lot of yellow and red Ferraris behind us. P3 is also with hard tires on the front axle, so let's see how that's gonna work for him. Yeah, I don't want to get speeding this time around. Interesting. Maybe the guy wants to use me to save fuel? I should have calculated fuel target. It's a bad scenario I don't like being in, yet I constantly force myself into it in all those races I do recently in LMU. That I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. and I need to figure out while racing and while trying to focus on all the other stuff. Probably saving too much. Followed this line with exactly the same mistake. Hang on a second, am I going for like wrong amount of laps right now with this usage? I'm confused. Okay. Well, with this usage, we're definitely going for 11 already, so maybe let's just commit for 11 like he's doing, and then we're gonna see. He definitely used so far the most energy out of everyone. TC change again. Myself again. Let's go. Good traffic. Good boy. Good boy. Hello. Start begins, boys. Here we go. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yeah, be my fucking guest. Be my fucking guest. You want to drive like that? Be my fucking guest. He's literally attempting to kill himself. It attempts to give me room, and then when I run to the edge of the road, cuts across and pit maneuvers himself on me. On me. What's the point? It's the same guy that we encountered in that other like championship race at Imola, and he also did that dirty overtake on me. So he's definitely a fan of F1. But it's not how you race in WEC. Let's get to the Ferrari, and I'll feel safe behind Ferrari. I'm dropping frames, you say? Maybe because of traffic? Yeah. Should get this, and then Ferrari right after Onrush. So good timing with those two. Well, I guess Fedorchenko is now our guy to race against. Okay, last GT3. Clear track. 1.7 seconds, more energy. We'll manage. I've got tons of battery to use, so let's use that in those last 3 laps. Yeah, I remember, but just forgot to check. Toyota's dash is difficult to read, a lot of small numbers. It's not wrong information, I'm just not used to reading it, that's all. It's not a bad dash, it's just difficult to read if I don't know where to look. Just gonna have to learn where to look. I don't even know what's my fuel status really, but I think we're just in target. He's doing tons of small mistakes. We're both making tons of small mistakes. Let me clarify that. Minio is angry and is pushing. He did a purple right now. What is that? No change. Crazy, 4% of energy. And we're gonna all use that basically in one straight. Okay, now watch out for GT freeze in case of they leave the pit. No, okay, Fedorchenko has pit on the top pit. Now, this corner, I'm scared. Oh, had to lift. I think it's no tires in the pit, is it? Yeah, it's no tire change. We're only getting full tank. But I'll change the ratio to again percent higher. Bye. I'm sorry about the performance, guys, but like I said in the last stream, like when my Oculus mirror is not, I'm gonna have to fix that at some point or look for a solution. Too little time to do it right now. Maybe I need to give like in Windows Oculus Mirror a higher priority, and then that will fix that. Okay, he's coming. I'm gonna be close. I need to slot in behind him anyway. So there are people who went already for a 12 flat right now. Cold brakes, remember? Cold brakes. Okay, my favorite track limit. No grip there. Yeah, I think when there's like a lot of cars together on the track at one point, that's where it's really getting there. But it's only on the stream. It's not. I don't have any frame drops in game. So I need to charge up the battery a bit. Had to be done, man. I'm sorry. not expect. Is everyone going now unintentionally for 12 laps? It's driving really badly right now. Oh my god. Please don't bounce, don't bounce, don't bounce, don't bounce, thank you. Minions, I'm pushing for 11 ups. lose that much with this one. That was very poorly timed for me. Cost me way much than I should have. behind did 11 laps while we extended, and we extended the gap as well, so that's good. Yeah, I'll do a big lift just in case. This is really sketchy with the film. I'm also really not sure about the pit entry, it was just under limit. And Bastard saved 2% of fuel as well. Please no drive through or any shit like that for pit entry. So it was right on the limit. O kurwa. tried, but that outside is really tough in this game. I also don't have a straight line to overtake him, really. Oh, bro, just let it go at this point, fucking BMW. Obviously, you're gonna be dived. Why close the door? Run, rabbit, run! Minio the TT. No. Oh, that fort could fuck me over here. Oh, oh, it's gonna be tough. Fuck. I'll take the cut. Somehow it was legal. I'm gonna have to defend. Bro. And he's spun. Oh, what is it with LMU drivers being so aggressive? Another guy just does a move that's not on, and does on top of that extremely poor execution of it. Come on, guys, I just wanted to race, and then those moments like that, it's like I'm having an exciting race, and it's just sad. This whole race could have been so much more. I never realized in what car and in which position random code sign is driving, because he is in this race, isn't he? I'll have to look for him next round of lapping. Stop and go for Minio as well. Come on, don't fuck me over here with traffic. This is a fast lap. Oh, I want that inside. Ah, damn it. Why do I have to overtake him? It's like so time inefficient. Damn it. Not that last chicane could have been a purple, maybe. But I just should have done a better lap. That's it. Maybe I just shouldn't climb that curb. cars need like a specific like pit stop dash, because there's no way that if I press the pit limiter, you know how in ACC and in iRacing many cars have like a dash that's specific for pit stop. For example, when I turn on pit limiter, straight away the dash would go into the pit stop mode where it shows me the speed I'm carrying, and like it's big, not this super small thing right here. Okay, last pit stop of the race. Let's see, last stint. I'll pull up this page, maybe I'll spot random somewhere. Remember cold brakes. This guy is an interesting strategy, because he's full lap down with full lap of... Oh wait, so it makes sense. No, he's not lap down. So he's with extra laps. He did another stint that's for 12 laps. Fedorchenko is going to be now full push, trying to get back at me, understandably. The guy realizes he's getting lapped. Yeah, he definitely doesn't realize it. I mean, I've got no reason to like... Okay. I should probably just get past this guy and push, because fuck me, I'm losing so much time to further central with. But just playing with this guy. Just like, fair enough, he's got the fight with a BMW if he wants to cash, but I can overtake you, man, and pull you along to him, and he's also gonna have to let me go, so just play it smart. Oh my fucking god, what is he doing now? Is he here like attempting to slow me down on purpose? What the fuck is that guy doing? Well, anyway, fuel has been saved. Full push to the end. Thank you. You see, it can be done. Oh shit. Thank you. Oh, track limits sometimes in this don't really make sense. Stupid. now we're getting into the... Oh, this is way faster. There's a GT3 leader. I might need to fuel save ever so slightly here and there. Forgot about the TC again. Okay, let's try to extend as much as possible. Yeah, no, maybe not. Let's not extend the track. Let's just extend gap. Oh man, there's a lot more spa to use on the right there. Gap 6.8, and I was a bit with that GT3 as well, so we're extending easily from Torichenko in clean air. Why is the outside of bus stop so bumpy? Maybe that second gear that I saw yesterday from James is just copium and I should use first. I see, so the delta between us also varies a lot. If the delta between us is a lot, is a big. Because right now it's 7 seconds, but in the first sector it shows us 6.3. But trying to over push it into here. Disgusting. I lost big timing again into this corner, but it was even a fucking English sentence. What just I experienced in those couple of corners. It was quiet for 2 laps and now I went to Mordor. Yeah, doing 46 laps would be very tough. Probably frankly impossible, so yeah. Because traffic and used tires cost you a lot more over a stint than I thought. But better to calculate obviously being safe. Ooh. So next lap is last, boys. The previous lap that I did, that was 2:01 now, 9, that was nice. Yeah, and that 45th lap that I started also really late. Also with seconds to spare, I just didn't look how much exactly. No, damn it, Mustang. This is not the Mustang that last lap would be really fast. Initially I thought like, he's giving me the inside. Oh no, he's actually just missing a fucking corner. And full second to the bin. But it is a win. A victory for... So, okay, last lap was a 2028, by the way. So, last lap 2028. What does that mean? I want to check how slow... and not how slow, how close it was for not making a 45th lap. That's what I want to check. So my full race time is a 36:58. So 4 seconds to spare. 4 seconds to spare. Which 4 seconds is quite a lot. But it's also like only a 10th lap, isn't it? Let me watch both incidents. Probably takes a while to load. Thank you. That's already after the incident. It's also already after the incident, okay. So it was probably here. It was here. Hello? It's like, we're both going into the corner. And yeah, it's just... Like, what are you doing? Are you taking an apex? I'm here and I completely fully like deserve that space because we're here like that? Unless, like, this is, like, illegal because what? I would not understand. Hello? What is this? That's plain stupidity. And, like, this is not Formula 1, guys. This is sports car racing, and if someone is side by side with you, and it's not like it's just sticking a nose in, if someone is fully side by side with you, and you're going through the corner line with him, they deserve full car width of the exit. It could be only one car width, but it has to be at least one car's width. And right here, there isn't a car's width. Like, there is not a car's width. And I'm trying to be as close to that curb that I just need to drive around and we spin. And it, like, he's just pit maneuvering himself on a car that he's trying to overtake because he's desperately trying to here go early on the throttle, and obviously I'm gonna have here low grip, right? So he's trying to maybe here out accelerate me because here on the inside there's a lot of grip, on the outside there's marbles, it's off camber, there's shit grip there. So he's trying to just go on throttle early and accelerate me, but he's doing it in a really goofy way because he's opening up the steering as well. He's like not, yeah, he's fully trying to open up the steering and push me really. There's no attempt to be done to like go early on the throttle and like rotate the car with that throttle and then power ahead of me. It's like gambling that I'm not gonna be there anymore because my X is gonna be a lot shittier, which is not a gamble you can take. This is not, again, like Formula 1 where you just like take, this is my corner and you just shove someone off, or like in go-karts. This is different. Here you leave space to others. Yeah, and not everything is over. I went through move like that with Fredrochenko. On one occasion I overtook him, on another occasion I managed to make the move stick. Just put it in reverse, man. Just put it in reverse. Or, you know, you could also play it smarter and say, like me, I'm just, you know, I see he's aggressive, I see he wants that position, I'm just gonna let him have the position. What's the point? And that's what ultimately I did. And I didn't really have the pace, so I'd rather just drive behind someone and focus on myself rather than focusing on defending while trying to learn the track car combo. It's not like I don't know how to drive Spa, but you know, I just jumped into it with no practice. So the last stint was definitely my best stint. And you could see that like first stint I'm just about on pace and equally the same. In the second stint we're doing better job, but I'm still not on the level of Fedorchenko. Second stint, third stint, now I have pace on Fedorchenko, and then fourth stint I'm just driving away from him like by big chunks of time. So I was improving a lot lap by lap. Okay, third stint somewhere. Is Fedorchenko already here behind me probably, right? Oh, sorry, I'm spectating Minio. I'm going in the wrong way. Yeah, Fedorchenko is ahead of me. So we had here a couple of laps where, yeah, here now I'm ahead, but I think on this occasion I tried and I wasn't, you see? Look! 1-to-1, exactly the same scenario. I am the one attempting an overtake, right? I am the one completely taking side-by-side position on the entry. He's giving me very little space here, which here made it so it's very difficult for me to turn in. He is sort of like he can sort of do it to a certain extent, because at the end of the day he's taking just a straight line here, right? So like I would like to already turn in, although he shouldn't, because I broke late enough that now I'm ahead of him, so he shouldn't, because the car ahead basically dictates the line in my mind. That's how it should work. The car ahead dictates the line, but then the car, but at the same time, he needs to make sure that while he's ahead, he's also leaving one car's width space for another car when they're sufficiently side by side. So let's say axle to axle, front axle to rear axle. If it's only like a nose, then the other guy should back out. But this is just hard racing, right? This touchy, this here, this is hard racing. But here we make the corner, and you see, I go wide. There's shit grip here. But what he does, he leaves me that space, goes for the exit, and here I'm fucked because I took a wrong line, and here because of this touchy, I was out of line, and I couldn't here prep the exit. And he was just able to completely out-accelerate here. And second gear maybe didn't help here. I don't know. I was kind of on the copium that the second gear short shift is better there, right? Second attempt. Oh, fuck's sake. Second attempt, lap 29. Let me jump into the replay again. When it unfreezes. And the second lap was ever so slightly different. Show me the results. Nice, nice. And in all of this, Minio didn't finish the race? Minio didn't finish the race, so there's that. Technically, there's another one starting at 20 past. We could technically do that. Minio is already signed up for that one. There's that poor guy in a Ferrari. but I think one race like that is enough. I mean, we could try another, I guess. Should we? I don't know. I'd say that's one is enough. I would like, if fatigue would hit me in like middle of the second race, would be fine, but then driving non-stop would be just fatiguing. Because like if it's daily races, right? We have all those breaks, like here for example, we have a break for watching the replays. We have a break between 20-minute races, break between qualifying sessions, so it's fine. Because you have those short breaks, but if it's a race, your only break is really a pit stop, and hypercars are really fast, so everything happens fast. And in LMU, similarly to ACC, ever so slightly is the kind of sim that you work with a lot, like endurance, and this is gonna be tiring. It's gonna be a workout. Let me see my overtake on Fedorchenko, and then let me see that incident I had with Fedorchenko, because I feel like there was absolutely nothing that I did wrong. I thinking about that move, and like he just went for the inside, but how was the car ahead? And again, I'm then the one dictating the line, and that's the problem of like overtaking as the car behind that's on the inside. You're behind, so the car ahead is the one dictating the line. But the car on the inside is the one that's trying to brake later. But if he's not gonna get to be ahead, then he's no longer dictating the line. He has to fit within what I give him on the inside. And on the inside, I need to leave him the car's width. But if he doesn't fit in that, well, there's gonna be an incident. So obviously, I can then try to be more lenient and in self-preservation, let's say, try to give him the space. Give him more space to avoid the incident, because I know that he's probably likely to go deep there. But let's figure out that incident. So this was the first attempt, right? So this time around, he gives me ever so slightly more room here, and turns into the corner early, as I do, right? So there's no touchy anymore. And now I'm able to trail brake, and even though here I'm compromised, I'm getting ever so slightly better grip right here, you see? So yes, he's still ahead, and yes, he's still going for a nice exit, but here I'm able to still get my line and get on the, and you see, get into the corner, go on the throttle quite normally, and he on top of that does a mistake. So not only my exit is a lot better, his exit is a lot worse. He makes a mistake. Yeah, I actually don't know what the fuck he tried to do here. This looks very goofy. That's a big mistake. Damn, he worked wheel a lot. Holy fuck. Okay, let's get to the... I think this lap. Where it's like, blood, what are you trying... Like in this situation, right? He technically doesn't deserve any space. But obviously I'm gonna open up the corner to avoid the incident, right? If he would then overtake me, you could argue it's an illegal overtake, but it's not like there was contact done or he actually forced the car off. But you see, that's the thing. I'm the car on the outside and I dictate the line. Why is he trying to open up the corner? Like, I understand that I'm leaving him marginal space, but this is the space that he needs to fit in, and that's it. There is space for him throughout the whole corner. And why is he here turning into me? I'm going into the curb to open up the corner for myself and take a swing, but that doesn't mean that he can, like, as a car behind, force me into that curb. Look at his trajectory right here, right? Because he's right now turning it to me. Right now, I'm on the curb and he's turning it to me, still on the straight, trying to, like, he has a car behind that has this level of overlap. He cannot force me onto the curb. That's not how it works. It's not that I throughout the of course his gap is disappearing, but his car is disappearing all the way to there still being a one car Swift. Like, it is a disappearing gap, absolutely. Like you're 100% right, but the thing is that he needs to know that this move that he's attempting is gonna be into a disappearing gap. So either he gets the overlap that's gonna make it so he deserves more space, or he needs to fit into the gap that's gonna be given to him. And look what gap is being given to him. Like, sure, there's contact, but he's the one initiating the contact, not me trying to squeeze him. Me trying to squeeze him makes the gap disappear, right? But I have the right to squeeze him right now because I'm doing a consistent move that's on the racing line from the outside to the inside, and it is gonna be a disappearing gap all the way up until the point when there's one car Swift left. But he should have got into that room, right? Like, for example, right? If we go with the incident I had with Minio, right? Where is that? This is already after that, right? It was like very early into the race. Was it here where there was a lot of traffic? So, like, look, throughout here, as a leading car, he has all the right to squeeze me as far as he gets. Even this touch right here is kind of understandable if the touching would stop here and there would still be one car Swift here. But there isn't. He opens up the steering and he deliberately tries to push me off and gets into the corner. He's trying to get into the corner and cutting me across. He is trying to steer in and he's not attempting to leave me space. And that's the problem. The problem isn't necessarily the contact that happens, because he has the right up until this point still to push me out wide. He's the car ahead and he dictates the line. So, and I know that that's gonna most likely happen, but there's a limit to it, and there's touchy, and even with that touchy, if he would have still left me the car space here, and while like, he's in the right to compromising me here by doing this, but he's in no right to cut me off. But so the first part happens, and it's like, well, it's aggressive, but you're in the right to do so, but then you're cutting across, and that's no longer in your right, and that's what causes the incident, right? Let me scroll up. It's not about how much space the opponent is leaving, it's about who's in the right to leave someone else's space. You cannot say that Alexei was too careful with me. What the fuck do you mean by Alexei was too careful with me? It's a simple incident that just like, Minio closes the door, but he's in the right to close the door and squeeze me, as long as there's still car lives with remaining, and he leaves me the space for that. He can squeeze me because he's the car that's ahead and is dictating the line. Also, there's that replay bug where once I alt tab out of it, we just get stuck on the alt tab. But look, here he's not the squeezing car. I'm now the squeezing car, and I'm the car that dictates the line. And I'm all the way on the curb, and now he's initiating the touch when I'm slowly trying to go for the line. And there's still space for him. There's still space for him. There's still space for him. There's more contact. There's more contact. The space is living at all time. As a car behind, he knows that he's going for a disappearing gap and he needs to fit into it. Just as I was supposed to fit into the gap that Minio leaves me. And I attempted to do so, but then after I attempted to do so, he continued closing the gap to the point he pit maneuvered himself over me. And here this is not the case, because what you would now call pit maneuvering myself over him isn't happening here, because I'm just going through a normal line in the corner while there's space for him given. And on top of that, he's a car that just has ever so slightly an overlap. So with this kind of overlap, he better expect that he's gonna get only a car swift and no more. And like, you can argue that, oh, you should have preserved the incident and be more lenient. Yeah, I could have done that. You're absolutely right in saying that. But that doesn't mean that I'm in a wrong here for him crashing. Like, I could have preserved us both, but it's not my responsibility to do that. The responsibility is on him to not initiate such thing even happening, because right here, this touchy that happens right here, he's braking diagonally towards the curb, expecting me to enter that curb ever so slightly, and I'm not doing that, and then the incident is caused. And you see, I have to already counter steer that. I'm not steering into the corner, I'm counter steering throughout the braking zone. And because I counter steer throughout the braking zone, but he pit maneuvered me, he's in a way, with LMU physics, his contact, in a way, forces my car to cut across him. Because look, I'm counter steering here. Look, you can even see from this perspective, I'm counter steering here. Because he's the one that's rotating my car. He's leaving the gaps way too little. He's rotating my car, and he's making it even worse for him, because as a result, he's making the gap even smaller for himself. And right now, the final contact that decides the corner happens. Look how much space he has. And I'm in the right to leave him with this exact space. And you cannot argue that I have to leave him more, or oh, but he's carrying a lot of speed. So what? He's in no position to do so. He's overtaking with barely any overlap, and he's a car behind. Like, I'm dictating the line here, and it doesn't mean that I can close the door. If I would here turn into the corner completely and like went for an actual apex, nah, that would be on me. Then you would be right, but that's not what's happening here. It's just a disappearing gap to the middle with still cars with left on the apex, and it's aggressive racing. But if he doesn't control his car well enough to fit into that gap, and he's leaving margins too little and causing contacts like that make his own situation in the process even worse, then it's on him. And that's just a racing incident, because the space is left, and the contact is, to be fair, initiated by the car who in the end spun. So he can only blame himself, unfortunately, in this situation. Then why you didn't leave Minio's what? Why didn't you leave Minio's place? But it's him not leaving me space in that scenario. There was no space left for me. I was all the way to the curb. And then he pits maneuvered himself over me, and you can see there's not enough space. And here, there is space, and Minio is missing the apex and crashing into me. Look, right here. He should have already been climbing the curb and going side by side with him. That's not what's happening. Look where the contact is initiated. The contact is initiated right here. Right here. Bam. There's still one car swift and my car leaves all more than sufficient space throughout the corner. Because bear in mind that the line for him is to completely cut the whole curb, which is not what you do in the last corner, because in the last corner both cars have to do drive around the sausage. It's a wrong comparison that you're doing, man. Oh, the fucking replay controls in this game are fucking beautiful. Look, all the way up to here, I'm fine. Like him pushing me here wide as a car ahead, because he's ahead, I'm behind. This is fine. But right here, as he forces himself onto the curb and wants to, at this point he can't, because I'm already at the limit of the track. But he keeps on doing it, and he rotates himself around me. Like, I have no more space to tighten up the corner anymore. And if we go back to again the Fedorchenko me incident, where are we? Oh, this fucking game. Exactly. But here, first of all, he initiates the contact that tightens up my line more than I initially wanted to. Because look what's happening with my steering wheel. So to understand why he has so little space in the first place. Look, there's a touch, and I have to counter steer. I didn't tighten up that corner on the early on the entry so early. He did because he initiated the contact with him by leaving such tiny margins as a car behind, and no less, which is not where he dictates the line. I'm the one dictating the line, and then the final contact happens right here when he still has the space, and we are both. Oh my fucking god! And we're both aiming still to cut this curb, and he's understeering off it. He's on a trajectory to not even make that corner. Am I adding throttle to hit Minion? That doesn't matter, because I'm in a position where if I would lift it, he would still pit maneuver himself over me if I'm on throttle or on off throttle. He's doing a bad move. That doesn't matter. You're trying to justify by my action him doing a wrong thing, which is wrong in no matter what I do. If I'm here, for example, if exactly the same scenario happens, and let's say we have those same contacts ever so slightly wider out of the apex, that's still on him, right? Because in both scenarios the space is given. It's just that in this scenario there's a very marginal space given, but still enough. And in the scenario where, let's say, we would both cars have just half a meter away from the apex, but in terms of car behavior, let's say everything is happening the same between the cars, right? It's still his own wrongdoing, because as a car behind, he's still missing the apex. In this scenario, he just did it by very little. In the other scenario, he would do it by more, right? So me leaving him more space or less wouldn't change anything, right? And I'm here, the car in front. So in this scenario, he's missing the corner entry, and he's not going for the space he's given and that I have the right to give him. And in the Migno scenario, was it end of lap 5? End of lap 6, I think. And in Migno scenario, for example, I was here angry, right? He's in the right to do that. In the heat of a moment, I'm like, oh, damn it. But like, I'm going for a move that technically is not there. I don't deserve that space. There's no overlap I have. He's in all the right to cut me off there, right? Because I have no overlap. But here, throughout the whole corner, I have the overlap. We are fully side by side throughout the whole corner. And all the way, even with this touch is still okay, right? This touch is still okay. And here I'm braking, and he pits maneuver himself over me. And the fact that if I tap the throttle or if I hold the brakes, look, I'm braking throughout the whole thing while he already pits maneuvers himself. And if you could argue that oh yeah, but you hit the throttle for literally a split second. That didn't make a difference. And I was side by side anyway. Even if I wouldn't hit that, and I should not be braking here either way. I'm braking because I know, oh shit, at this point something shit is going down, so I'm trying to avoid it, right? But then at this point I'm realizing, oh, okay, so I just need, at this point you're just pit maneuvering over me, so at this point I'm just doing a self-preservation and trying to save the car and not throw myself into any city spin. Because at this point I'm realizing, oh shit, like, I should have space here, but he's not giving me any space. Like, how can you say that this is not on him if I deserve the space here? If I deserve the space here, then this is fully on him, because where the fuck do you want me to go? And if you want, if you look at this, because you keep on trying to compare those two incidents. Oh my fucking god. And if you look at it from Fredrichenko's point of view here, there is the whole time, at all points, there's space for him to go for. Like, I'm not like on the curb. This is where the contact happens. And bear in mind, he initiated that gap smothering by initiating contact here. Look where he's braking. His car is pointing to the left while braking in a straight line. He initiates the contact here on the entry. I counter steer. It's not me tightening up the gap. And here the gap is already tightened. And he loses the car under braking. And he's not in control of his own car to fit in the gap. He initiates the contact. His execution is sloppy, and he fails to get the car into the gap that he deserves. That's why I leave him the gap. But he still initiates the contact and loses the car because he just tried it too hard. That's it. Okay. But I have no problem with that because I'm in the right. If they want to be jackasses and they want to race aggressively like that, be my fucking guest. That's what I said when Minio pit maneuvered himself. Be my fucking guest. What excuses do you? How can you call them excuses and keep on arguing when I have all the, not excuses, but reasonings and pure data that shows who's in the wrong according to the rules? Those are not excuses. You are looking for excuses that, oh, you're dirty driver, you're not leaving him space, you should have, like, taken care of him and babysit him and leave him with more space because he's missing the corner, you should have lifted off. What the fuck is that rule of thought? That you just have a driver that you want to support, and no matter what rule says, I'm just gonna say that another driver should have lifted and not even attempted the move. What the fuck? None of your arguments that you're trying to make here makes any sense or has any reason behind it other than I think you're aggressive without explaining what is aggressive, and I think you just should have just left him space without reason. What is the reason for leaving space? I just think you should have backed out, and I just think he deserves more space. On what basis? There are rules that sometimes says that someone does. There are rules that sometimes say that someone doesn't deserve space. And if I don't deserve space, but I get angry at that, I'm gonna get angry at it in the heat of the moment, like I showed you with that incident with Mignot before Blanchimont, right? Look, he's braking diagonally and driving into me. We go to the end of the road. You cannot drive into me. I'm the one defining the line, and I'm here in the straight line. That rotates my car. That makes the line that he's trying to go into even tighter. And what is that? What is that steering into the left here? Maybe he got a micro lockup on the rear, right? But like, he overdid it. He unsettled both of their cars because of the thing. Both of their cars are like unsettled and have even less ability to brake, and it's all of his doing. So no matter how much space I leave him, as long as it's enough space rule-wise, it is always gonna be on him. What different angle? Rene, I'm asking you to give me a reasoning. Like, you keep on using arguments like you're friends, you just can't see it, you're aggressive. Okay, you can say whatever you like. I don't care about that, but give me the reasoning that counteracts my arguments. Because I gave you like arguments that are rooted in reality and in rules that define racing. So if you just want to be angry at me for racing aggressively, because don't get me wrong, I'm leaving him little space, right? There is touch to be done. I'm like, bro, if you're gonna be aggressive and you're leaving me little space, and if you want to be aggressive with me, I'm gonna give you as little space as you deserve. You deserve some space there, don't get me wrong, but you're gonna get as little of it as possible, and you have to now fit into that gap. If you want to almost take me out in turn 1, right? Right here. Was it this lap or was it another lap? It was the lap before where he almost outbraked himself. Was it this lap? I need to click twice, don't I? Yeah. Right here, where he has no overlap, he brakes late and he goes for inside, right? If I here tighten up the corner, go on the brakes harder and tighten up my corner, he would drive into me. But he's at this point in no place to deserve any space on the inside, and if I would cut across him, it's on him, right? I already gave him space once, and you would say, oh, your argument so far is, oh, it's on me, I would have to leave him space. What space? He doesn't deserve any space right now. But I had to give it for him to avoid the incident. I had to open up the cover ever so slightly. I got a better exit anyway, so it was like, okay, fine. We survived, right? But I avoided him aggressive driving. And then a couple of laps later, he attempts another aggressive take into the comp. He touches me, and at this point I'm like, I'm gonna leave as little space as possible. And it's aggressive from my side, but it's within rules. It's within rules. And we are all playing within the same rules. Do you agree that he could have stepped on the gas or braked you later? I guess outbroke me. He just wouldn't have left any room. Oh yeah, obviously, if he would have outbroken himself, he wouldn't make the corner. But that's the point of trying to overtake someone. If you're the car behind, the car in front, within rules, has to leave you certain space. And you have to fit into that space. That's it. You're an overtaking car. You have to fit into the space that the opponent is leaving you. Like, for example, in that in the overtake itself, where I overtook him. Was it right here? Like, I cannot be angry that here he's running me wild. Like for example here, right? There's that touchy. Okay, but I'm the one behind an overtaking car, and he's the one who's gonna define the line. And here the fact that this touchy happened is because I'm trying to stay as close to him, but that touchy is just he's leaving me a certain amount of room, and I have to deal with it. And here I want to go into the corner early, but I'm not the one who's gonna go into the corner early. He's the car who worked for entire entry was really early, and he's the one who's just gonna go into the corner where he wants to. And he goes into the corner only now, and that screws me over. But it's like aggressive on his side, but he's within the right to do that. So it's not like he's pushing me wide when I deserve the space and like completely drives me off the track. No, he just opens up the line and drives us both wide, but within the rules. So this is all fine. Like, this is just tough aggressive racing. Minyo winner, fuck off. You say Minyo winner, but Minyo winner just pit maneuvered himself on like fucking lap 4 without leaving any other driver in the room. And he also dive bombed me on another occasion on another race, so you can say all you want. But at the end of the day, he DNF'd from the race. He got another penalty drive for speeding, or stop and go from speeding, he got drive through for track limits. So you can say all you want, but that's it. Okay, it's difficult for him to fit on the inside of that corner. You were absolutely right, but that's not a reason for me to leave him more space, because it's gonna be difficult for him. I'm not there to babysit him. He's the car behind. He barely has any overlap. His rear axle is on my rear axle. I have to leave him only one car's width. He's not deciding the line. I'm deciding the line. And if I leave him only one car's width, he needs to make that corner in a way that he's gonna fit into a one car's width. That's it. Those are the rules. Anything past that is you crying that, oh, but I can't do that. Well, you can. There are tons of scenarios where that's exactly what's happening. But the thing is that I'm, as a car defending, I'm braking myself very fucking late. And if I'm defending, if I'm braking as a car ahead very late, you cannot anymore outbrake me, because I'm braking as late as it can possibly be. Most of the overtakes under brakes are done because the car ahead is taking it a bit easier on the brakes, or is braking not in a straight line, and because there's a bit of trail braking, so the whole braking distance is elongated. It's good for the performance over a corner because you trail brake and you rotate the car into the corner better, but for asserting dominance in terms of track positioning, being ahead or behind, sometimes braking strictly in a straight line is more efficient. So what you do is get to the inside of someone, brake in a straight line and get ahead of them, while they're like braking in a like sweeping line, and you get ahead of them, and then you're in the and then you have the right for the corner. That's how a lot of the overtakes and the brakes are done. But he's too far to make that happen, and I'm braking too late myself. I'm really braking late to still be ahead of him and control the corner. And as long as I'm ahead and I'm controlling the corner, tough luck. Like, you just broke too late for the situation that you found yourself in. You're too far behind me to brake late, and I'm braking too late for you to assert any dominance in terms of being ahead of me in the corner. There's no possibilities for you to do that. I don't care if he's trying his best. I also agree that he's trying his best. But that's not an excuse for him trying his best to... Oh, he tried his best, but he still failed. That's the point. He went for a move that even when he tries his best, he still can't do it. So it's his fault. Like, him not being able to do it while trying his best is still his fault, because he's going for a move that's not on. He has to fit into this gap, and if him trying at his best isn't enough to fit in that gap, that's not legal, because he has to fit in that gap. And also, all of you arguing that he's trying his best, but he initiates the contact and the brakes here by braking diagonally. He makes my car go more into the inside very early. He makes the contact happen. He unsettles his own car under brakes, and he makes it so his own braking into his inside here is less controlled, less efficient, and at the end of the day he outbrakes himself, and he carries too much speed into this space that I'm leaving him. And look, that I'm at the end of the day also like understeering and going wide out of all of this, right? So like, if I'm carrying so much speed into here that I'm almost oh my fucking god, here that I'm also losing the corner, then think how fucking late he would have to be in his on the inside, and his corner is even tighter. Because the whole idea would be that if here this touch doesn't happen, and if here this touch doesn't happen, and I'm braking in a straight line, both our braking is more efficient. If both our braking is more efficient, he can go on a tighter light from the inside that I'm about to give him right here, and we're both slower, and we both do that corner with me being on the limit of the grip all the way to the exit, but because of all the touching, our both cars had too much speed throughout the whole corner, and that made me oversteer and miss this corner, and that made him spin. But it's all because he touches me in the braking when he's in the no right to define the line. Look, that was the touch. Like, what the fuck? I'm already rotating with my car. But if someone said, on the other hand, I'm gonna defend him a little bit here, right? He's going for a very difficult gap to go for, and I'm gonna leave him as little space. Having said that, if that touch on the entry that I just showed you wouldn't exist, wouldn't happen because of him, like I said, I would brake more efficiently in a straight line initially, he would brake more efficiently up until at this point, because our cars wouldn't be touching. We would both brake more efficiently, we would decelerate more into the corner, I would leave him same amount of room, because that's the room that I'm gonna give him. Because that's within the rules that I have to leave him one car's width, so I'm leaving him one car's width. We would both be slower if not the touching he initiated and the braking, and we would both be able to go throughout the tighter radius, right? But with the space that I am to leave him, but with the speed that he made us carry because of the touching that he initiated and the braking, we are no longer able to carry that radius at this speed. But at the same time, he needs to fit within that gap. So he either has to do all is him in his doing to tighten it even more, or the contact is gonna happen. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't go for a move. The move is on. Go for a move. The move is on. What's not on is the touching on the braking, because at this point, you're failing the move that was on. At this point, the move is no longer on. And at this point, he's only a victim of his own doing, because this touching that he does here by braking initially diagonally to the left makes this entire braking zone for him so inefficient that he's no longer is gonna be able to fit in that gap, which initially was sort of possible. So he's only a victim of his own doing. So from this point on, he's never gonna make the corner. But he already committed into it, and at this point, we cannot back out. And he's only at my mercy. I can either leave him room, but trust his fair enough driver that he acknowledges he was the one in the wrong here, and I keep the position from all the shenanigans that would happen later if I leave him more gap, and for example, I have to slow down more on the for the next run. I don't know what could have happened, right? It's just what if. Or maybe he saves the car, which I would argue he also did a very bad job of trying to save the car here anyway, but he's just a victim of his own doing. That's it. I don't want to argue about that incident anymore. Exactly. And even if it was F1, like he's the car behind and he doesn't deserve that space. If it was F1, then technically he should not be in that position in the first place. I don't understand the F1 rules. There was the whole debacle after Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen Tier 1 thing in Jeddah, and apparently F1 rules side-by-side guidelines are a bit different, but F1 doesn't really, it's not like publicly released what are actual side-by-side rules in F1. So that's the big problem of trying to see like if it's right or wrong, because like everybody can have their own opinion of if it's right, if it's wrong, but that opinion then could be like if you want it to be not only the opinion but it be rooted in some reality and rules, then we don't even know what rules we could apply to that F1 incident, right? Because the F1 rules of racing side by side are not public, and from what we understand, the little of it, like as long as the car is ahead of the apex, the other car doesn't deserve the space on the outside anymore, which in my understanding is very stupid, and it's gonna only make there be more and more incidents in the future like that. But I'll leave that to the FIA to sort it out if they don't see that that's exactly the precedent that's good that they're creating. But this is sports car racing, and you just have to race side by side while leaving others room. And I left him room, and you can say, yeah, but he left you more room. What the fuck? He's not in a position to leave me any room. He's the one in the position to fit into the room that I'm leaving him. He's the overtaking car behind. You're using the wrong rule because that rule doesn't apply here. He is the one who actually needs to respect that me applying that rule on him. Right? I'm the one defining the line in that scenario. Yeah. 499 could break earlier, but he has to break earlier because his corner is gonna be tighter, because he's gonna be on the inside while I'm on the outside, and I'm the car ahead, so I'm defining the line. So obviously he has to, at least in a ideal world, when I break the latest I can and he breaks the latest he can, he's not gonna outbrake me. It's not possible. Overtake under brakes is done on an idea that you can brake better than your opponent and brake deeper than your opponent and assert dominance over the inside of the corner. Do I have examples? I have like a fight example of me and Amir maybe. I mean, there was little to be done there. Monza, Fuji, let me load this. I am probably arguing with Joel, but I think other people could maybe get something out of it, because I am an aggressive driver and I take a lot of liberties with how much space I'm leaving to people in certain situations. And I can totally agree that I left him very little space. But I gave him the space he deserved. And you cannot argue that it's my fault. I left him very little space, and you can be angry at that. And he can be angry at that. And I can look at it and acknowledge the fact that I did leave him little space. And if I would have gave him a bit more space after he initiated the contact, but still, if I would have sorted itself out and tried to leave him more space after he already messed up, we could have survived. True, that you are not wrong in saying that. But it's not my responsibility to do that. It's just a choice that I have made, and I'm in the right to make that choice. That I am not gonna this time around save his ass. There could be another situation where me trying to not save his ass kills me on top of that, right? But that wasn't that situation. So I get what you're saying. It's a double-edged sword, and it doesn't apply. And it can bite you as well, because you can then argue, yeah, you are in the right, but you still died, right? But both of those incidents are not that, because in both I survived, and in both the other driver did something rule-wise wrong. Right here, Amir was side by side with me, entire run of the corner. And look, right here, right? He does that little reaction to me, right? It's not like he can right here on the exit, me as the driver ahead, he cannot longer like tighten up the corner as he wishes, because I'm the driver ahead, I dictate the line. And what he does, look, he reacts to me, he opens up the corner and he follows me. But what I have to do, my responsibility is right now to leave him still one car's width. And that's racing, little stuff like that, right? And that applies all the time. And this right here, the same thing that right here is happening applies to what happened between me and Fredorchenko, but on the entry. I'm defining the line as a car ahead, and he needs to react as long as there's still space left on the exit. And there it would apply the same to the space left on the entry. Let me forward and see where we were battling, because we were battling at some point. And it was an aggressive battle. Both me and Amir are very aggressive drivers, right? So there he just missed the corner. Little touchy-touchy, right? But it's like all within the realms of, well, it's aggressive, but just fair enough, because the outcome would be different anyway, right? And here I'm taking the space, and you can argue that the curb is still racing surface, so just deal with it. Where was the other lap? Where was the side by side that we were doing? Yeah. So for example, this, like, he was the car behind right here, he has to follow me. And I want to just slowly now move us both to the left side of the track. And I'm the car ahead. And what I'm doing is very aggressive, and many drivers will be like, oh, dude, what the fuck? But I'm the car ahead. I have the right to do it. This is my technically one, this is what I'm allowed to do. And you can see that Amir tries to brake late and try to outbrake me. But because he wants to here tighten up the corner and then put me in a position where he is tight enough on the corner where I cannot longer just release my brakes and go for the apex and get again an overlap on him like that easily and then again take control of the exit, right? So that's what he's doing lap after lap after lap. And I think here I broke myself. Yeah. Maybe it's a different race that I'm thinking about. Because we weren't really fighting from that point on. So Amir was trying to get into like my position, but from the overtaking car position, where he's as a overtaking car driving from the outside, but then throughout the braking zone getting ahead of me. So then throughout the entry, he's throughout the entry ahead of me, and then he's dictating the line. But obviously, to do that, he gets to brake really late. And if I brake very late, well, he's gonna naturally outbrake himself. Yeah. Well, look, I like aggressive racing, and a lot of the times that's gonna lead to me find myself in situations like I found myself with Fedorchenko, right? But like what happened with Minho, that's fully on him. Like there was no way for me to even avoid that, because it wasn't me being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be aggressive here. No, that was just me cutting across myself where I was there. But to Fedorchenko, that, and you can be mad at it, I decided to be aggressive there. Because I saw that he started to go for very cheeky moves and he tried to really force moves that were wrong. And I was like, I was there to aggressively stand my ground and leave him as little space as he deserves. He deserves that space, so I left him. But it was as little as he deserved. And if he didn't have the skill to fit in that space, he's gonna cause the incident. And I'm the one who makes that move difficult for him, and it's aggressive from my side as well. He's aggressive from initiating moves like that are very, very difficult for him to do. And while he's doing that, while touching my car, I'm gonna be equally aggressive with him. And I am in for aggressive driving like that. But while being aggressive, you have to make sure that when you're aggressive, you have to make your aggressive move stick and be within rules correct. Because only then you can argue that even though you're aggressive, you're still in the right, because you rule-wise you did something right. And like this is a good example. I agree and I understand if someone is angry at me for leaving him little space. It's not too little, but it's little. I left him little space, but I was in the right to leave him that space. So I like that racing. I like the aggressiveness of it and how raw and visceral it is. I drive like that and I race like that. But moves like that, they have to stick. Someone mentioned something and I completely forgot that. Is that race still on or not? No, I guess that message that someone sent me was already like 20 minutes ago, right? And I was just waffling. Because it's not intermediate race, is it? No, it was beginners. Did that other weekly race already start? It starts in a minute. Let's see who's signed up, but I don't think I'm gonna be driving this. Jack McConnell, he's quite a fast driver. I don't really recognize a lot of the names in GT3, but I'm gonna leave it at this, boys. I can't be asked to do another race. But very interesting. Do I have some other like scenarios of just racing side by side in this game? Monza, Fuji. Reset Spa. I don't remember that race. Was this the race when we drove with Jared and Aiden? Yeah. Yeah. I totally get if someone like doesn't like aggressive driving and wants to take it a lot easier and just minimize the possibilities. But is it loading? It is loading. Just minimize the possibilities of incidents happening, because naturally aggressive driving is gonna make potential incidents happen. Because if you're aggressive, you have to make sure that everything, like I said, everything you do, it needs to stick and it needs to be precise. And because other people are also not gonna be precise enough, and sometimes it's gonna give you less room that you expected, or less room that you technically deserve, but you went for such an aggressive move they didn't expect it and they left you less room. Or you know, your move is aggressive, you're expecting them to leave you a certain amount of room, they leave it ever so slightly less, ever so slightly more, right? It's gonna cause an incident. And you could argue, well, he didn't leave me enough space, but well, yeah, you went for aggressive move, right? So obviously driving in a less aggressive manner is gonna minimize those issues. But I like it because it's like an ultimate challenge, because it's not only driving a lap on a limit of cars possibility of cars potential. You need to overtake someone or defend from someone at the limit of cars potential, right? I think that's a complete... No, that is the race I'm thinking about. So our race with the boys. Right? Like, we are fully side by side through the corner, and Aiden is just taking this sort of line, right? And we are fully side by side, slash he's maybe almost ahead, right? And at this point, we need to work together, and if he does a very tight line, I have to be like, yeah, we're doing a tight line. And I cannot open the corner up and overtake Aiden. What I can try to do here is try to overtake him on the outside, and now he has to respect me because now I'm ahead, right? So he's ever so slightly ahead of me here, and you could argue he's ahead enough here that he dictates the line, and I have to respect that. And me in the cockpit, I have this Aston right here, and I have to respect that he's here, and I cannot open up my line because I haven't gained the right to do that. And here I'm trying to open up the corner as much as possible, but he is there. Me doing this would be, first of all, stupid. Second of all, I was not really in the right to do that. So what I do is open up this corner here and try to get him on the traction, and I do so. I do very well on traction, part of it is my car allows me to do that, but because now I did it on the traction, now he's the one behind and he cannot like go full throttle through here because he has to respect me, right? And you have to understand the logic that's behind it. In this corner, as a car on the inside, with him being ahead, I need to respect him and I cannot open up my line. So it doesn't work that we're just doing some imaginary line that I know, that he knows what his line should look like and I know what my line should look like. In this scenario, he defines the line, so whatever the line he does, technically I should follow, right? Well, I sort of expect what line he's gonna do, so I'm gonna do the line accordingly, but nevertheless, it's my responsibility to follow his line. But at this point where I get this traction advantage right here and he's sliding, at this point he's sort of losing that, and we are like fully side by side here, so it's way more about cooperating together than one following each other, right? But he is in no position here to like attack this apex and run me wild, right? He has to respect me and leave me space, and you can see how we beautifully go side by side through the corner. Obviously it's beginning of the race, super slippery, so none of us are really that aggressive, right? Where was it lap 2 where I did an overtake on Aiden? Was it already lap 1 where I did that? I don't remember. That's an interesting situation, right? Because this is under very difficult conditions. I'm clearly here going for a dive. And the aggression in this racing is that, first of all, when I get the overlap here, I gamble on him leaving me space, but I have to, if he doesn't leave me space, I have to ensure that this overlap that I got right here is gonna give me the right to at least be on the apex. He misses the corner ever so slightly. Those are very difficult conditions because nobody really knows what are the grip levels, and I wouldn't be surprised if Aiden here not only leaves me space, but my car is just so much better in the way that he straight out is not able to get the car into the apex here, right? Like he's just full in the ABS and he doesn't have the grip, so and the grip on the outside is quite poor, right? So I get to the apex and I get to the part of the track that's just more grippier, and now I got ahead of him, and right here Aiden has to be super careful right here, because here I'm gonna tighten up the corner on him and he has to fit into the gap, right? So this is just me forcing an error and him being and me being super aggressive right here, and counting that he's gonna break myself, and counting that my car in this situation is gonna be superior in terms of braking performance, and that and that it's gonna stick. So this is big gamble on my part that this move is even gonna be on, that he's gonna have so little grip that him just turning in is just gonna go into ABS and not being able to turn whatsoever, while my car in super slippery wet because it's wet. This is wet. We're on slicks, but on a wet track. That I'm here gonna be able to get to the apex and get traction on him, and I'm able to do that. And now I'm ahead of him, and now I dictate the line. And in a situation like that, this is the similar scenario to me and Fedorchenko, right? Fedorchenko would be the asshole, me would be this. It's a different corner, there's not really a braking zone, but we have to lift, right? So this is a deceleration. And here, he has to lift and he has to fit in a space that I'm gonna leave him, and I'm leaving him only this space, and he has to fit in it, and Aiden does that. But he's aggressive with that, and he's trying to get something out of it, but I managed to stay ahead. And he's here, trying to get ahead of me, but I'm the one ahead, and I dictate the line, and I'm able to get ahead of him, and he has no longer any ability to do any moves on me. And obviously, because of it's a trade-off, because me going on the throttle here a lot and block passing him basically, I make sure that my negative braking zone is gonna be fucked. But I trust that it's not gonna be fucked enough for me to still get an exit on him, because my car is just faster in those particular conditions, right? But like, this is a good example of aggressive racing. Like, what I do right here is very aggressive for me. I just go on the throttle and I take this line from him, and like, he's probably pissed, and this is very aggressive for me. But I am in the right to do that. I'm just right there, and he has extremely little overlap. So it's not like he deserves. He doesn't deserve a tight line over here, right? I can open up that corner, as long as obviously I don't push him off the track. But I can do that, cause technically, rule-wise, me going here as a car ahead, this is like my one line change, my one defensive move. And then I'll break myself like a dumbass. It was so slippery. That was so goofy. Because you see, Aiden is braking very late, but it's so slippery that him braking so late here actually makes him crash into Jari, right? So this is the problem, that with what's the most efficient braking for the corner for Jari, like for Jari this is still the fastest line, but for Aiden, he wants to overtake me. So let's say if Jari didn't exist, right? Then Aiden does this line, and he just manages to stop the car enough that he blocked past me. He got ahead of me while braking, and he's ahead of me. And now, even though he's missing the corner, I can do a cutback. But if there's no space for me to do the cutback, he's just ahead of me, and he sort of like blocked past me. There's Jarier here that helped him stop, right? So it's difficult to talk about this scenario, right? But basically, him braking that late, it's not efficient in any way. And this is technically not fast. If Jari wasn't here, because he would go wide and his exit here would be completely scuffed, but I would be behind him and he would block past me and not allow me to really do a cutback on him. So he would compromise my corner by being ahead of me and dictating the line enough. Let's maybe look at it from before the contact with Jari happens, right? If Jari doesn't exist, imagine the Aston is braking deeper into the corner, but I'm still on the outside and I'm not able to get a good timing, get a cutback on him. He compromised my entry as well, as much as his. But he's ahead, so he takes the corner and he takes the position. That's racing. He compromised both within the rules, both me and himself, but in a way that he still got track position and he got to dictate our line through the corner. But obviously the situation is very goofy because he drives into Jarier and just uses him as a brake. And funnily enough, LMU physics allow that kind of stuff. And obviously this is like a reverse scenario where I cannot outbrake myself like Aiden did because there's Jarier. So because of that, Aiden is ahead of me. We already went through this. How did I overtake him later? Oh, Happy just took him out. And then here he spun. So slippery. My overtake on Jari was aggressive as fuck. Some could say it was borderline illegal. And now here with Jari, right? This is again what the position that Fedorchenko was in. There is a car with that the Jari gave me, and no more. But he made the mistake of going slightly bit too wide, and now I'm just like, yeah, I'm taking that line, and me cutting across him. This is very aggressive, and here just me gambling on the fact that either I'm gonna get ahead of him fast enough to cut across him, or if not, the contact that's gonna happen is gonna be very little and negligible, right? This is too aggressive from my side. This is way too aggressive. This is way too dangerous, and it causes an unnecessary contact, and because of that Jardier it messes up Jardier's exit even more. But he was already on a slippery curb here. But you can see how much more grip I have, and here I'm wrong in doing that. This is bad on my part. Here I got ahead and I'm dictating the line, so Jarier can no longer like squeeze me how he could on the entry. But here I should have let him more space, because this is this is too much. But you could argue that it is aggressive, but it is somewhat within rules, because his space is still technically given. But I should have given me more space, right? Given him more space. And then there was also racing between me and Aiden. Right, I'm just driving around the outside, and as long as I'm ahead, Aiden has to respect that, and he cannot longer go for that block path, because he could have technically released the brakes and went for the apex ahead of me, but I'm braking too late for that to be physically possible for him. If I would be worse on the brakes, that would be a possibility for him. But because I brake so well, he has to also be early on the brakes and just tighten it. And that's the thing that happened with Fedorchenko, because I was so good on the brakes throughout the entry. And he was not physically able to go for a tight gap that's gonna be there on the inside. But he went and gambled that he's gonna go hard on the brakes and go for a tight gap that's gonna just get so tight that he's physically not gonna be able to fit in it. But Aiden is nicely fitting inside of it. And here, for example, Aiden was a bit angry with me at it, but I'm still within the right to do it, because I'm a car ahead and this is my line, and I'm opening up this corner, and I'm in the right to do that. And this is exactly what you call aggressive racing, and you can be angry at me at, oh, there's contact, I should have given him more space. What more space do you want? What more space do you want? We're literally in the middle of the fucking track, and that's just my line. And as a car ahead, I'm in the right to do that. If I was behind him, I would have to. If I was behind him, then the contact would be on me. So I would argue that in this case, the contact is in fact on Aiden. And here he just gets a cutback. At this point I just didn't have tires, I didn't have any response. Doesn't matter, case closed. And race was won, so I'm hungry. Boys, thank you very much for watching. That was very interesting. And good race. Good talk. Everyone is tired of my waffling, so I'm just gonna stop and see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.